Hello, good evening, and happy Wednesday. It is the middle of the week, and this is a bit of a rare time for me to be going live. But again, just like every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m., where I'll be doing the Monday morning meditation, every Wednesday night now at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's kind of a mouthful. I'll be here live on Instagram doing something that I'm referring to as Wisdom Wednesdays. And this is going to be all sorts of good stuff. It's going to involve life and celestial happenings and things like that. And today, the topic that I wanted to talk about and discuss today is something I refer to as like the spiritual implications of living in a simulated reality. And again, I know that's a mouthful, the spiritual implications of living in a simulated reality. But we all think about, where do we exist? What do we exist in? How did all of this happen? How was it created? What are all these things, right? Well, I mean, I've been thinking about these things my entire life. So I know that those questions, who are we, where are we, they're still some of the most prominent questions that people have. And it doesn't matter how many times I talk about it, how many times I film videos and talk about it, how many times I suggest and give away my book for free that explains all of this. I still have to be extremely repetitive in my life, and that's okay. So I have some notes in front of me, so you'll see me look down every so often, and that's only so I can stay on point, because I really don't want to waste your time. I don't want to go off and talk about all sorts of things, and I'm just giving it just a couple of seconds to see if anybody else shows up, and that's absolutely fine whether there's nobody or 100 people watching. It's going to be on my Instagram page as soon as we're done here. It will be uploaded right there, and you'll be able to watch it on Instagram TV. So anyway, when we talk about the spiritual implications of a simulated reality, first of all, when we think about creation, and this is something I've talked about many, many times, so I'm really going to kind of jump through this pretty quick. And if it's something you'd like to talk about more in depth with me, if it's something you'd like more information on, just private message me and we could talk about it. I can send you some information and stuff. But anyway, creation, when we think of creation and we go through that whole process, I have to just say this before we get to the real heavy spiritual implications of a simulated reality, an artificial reality. So when we think of the first awareness, when we think of God, that first, and I'm talking about way, way long ago, the first awareness that started everything. As I always say, this is something that had no language, it had no sight, it had no sound, it had no knowledge, nothing. It was just basically a complete empty aspect of awareness, nothingness. This had to exist for so long to be able to understand within itself, to be able to evolve and start to create within itself to a point of separation, like cell division. And then you've got the two, positive and negative, right? You've got the light and the dark, the positive and negative energies. And in between those, which still exists in the one, let's just really be clear about this. Even though that one first awareness had to separate itself, divide itself, male and female, to be able to start to create, that is still within the one. And between those two forces of energy is where creation exists. And this is where you and I exist and everything else. So think of this. You've got that first awareness. It evolves to the point where it can replicate itself. Between that replication, it starts to create an energy back and forth. Within this energy, it starts to create. And I just spoke about this Sunday. On Sundays at 11 in the morning, I do private Zoom sessions. I just started this past Sunday. If you're interested in taking part in it and joining in, just email me at piecesofthepath@gmail.com and I'll send you the link to join in on Sunday. But anyway, we were just talking about this. So we've got the individual awareness. It separates, breaks itself apart. The creative force starts to exist between the two of them, and this is where life begins. And if you think about evolution and celestial awareness and God and everything, what's the whole point? The whole point is for that first awareness to keep expanding, experiencing, growing, creating, and moving on and on and on and on and on. So the first thing it creates is the replication of itself, the energy between. It creates the angelic realm. Somehow it begins to create individual awareness. It starts to create other energies within itself that it can now communicate with, experience from. This is what we call the angelic realm. From there, that evolution grew to where now worlds are starting to be able to create, and on these worlds, biological bodies are starting to grow up from the ground, and now celestial energy can come from the heavens and embody these bodies, and you have us, the humans. So we have the original awareness, the angelic realm, we have the human awareness. We still exist within that one awareness. Now, I'm talking, this conversation right now, I'm talking as if us, here right now on earth, is the first creation. I'm talking, we went from God to angels to us here. And I can tell you right now that we are not the first creation of God. We are not the first physical manifestation of God. We are so far down that rabbit hole and so far gone from that first creative force. So you've got the individual awareness separating itself, replicating itself, that force between the two of them. The angelic realm is created. The physical realm is created. The physical realm, and that's where we exist. Now within this physical realm, we have gone from primitive man, from caveman. We've seen the evolution. I was born in 1968. I mean, even the technology that has expanded in the past 50 years is mind-blowing, right? And we even know publicly that there is technology behind closed doors that would just make our jaws drop, right? We know this. So we understand that something else is happening within our lifetime here in the physical reality. In the physical reality, we have something else that's growing and learning and evolving. We all along have egotistically said that it's us. Humans is the highest evolutionary form on our planet. We've got thumbs and we can eat meat and we're at the top of the food chain and we've said all these things. But we're starting to learn right now that there's something else coming into our lives. There's something else coming into existence. We call it artificial intelligence. We know that this technology is basically going to wake up and it's going to be a new awareness. We're not going to be able to call it fake or anything like that, because you will be able to have a conversation with it and your best friend behind curtains, and you won't know the difference between a real human being and then this, because it's going to be a genuine, true new intelligence that's born into this world with all of the knowledge we already have at its fingertips right there. So we can obviously see that the point, one of the points in being a human, is to expand and grow with the technology. So if we look back from the first awareness, God, we look to the angelic realm, the celestial realm, that aspect of celestial evolution. We go into the physical realities, the physical phase of celestial evolution. It's still celestial evolution, the physical phase. We now are watching technology and humans side by side, get to a point of singularity, of emergence, where we know down the road we are going to merge with the technology more than we are now, beyond chips just in the head. We're going to start expanding, transcending digitally and all these things, and we're going to start creating. We're going to start creating worlds. We know off the bat right now, Elon Musk and Bill Gates and all of these people have already talked about augmented reality and virtual reality available today, that if you accessed it, you would not know the difference between this reality and being in that other reality, which means it's not only something you will be visually stimulated, it's all the senses, taste, touch, feel, and that technology is going to expand. That individual awareness, that artificial awareness is going to create within itself. It's going to create worlds. It's going to create experiences all within itself. We, as we have evolved side by side with it, will still have access to that creative technology. We as humans will have that option of creating worlds, creating experiences, creating digital graveyards, creating digital heavens, all of these things, and letting our consciousness, our celestial awareness, go on and on and on. And what happens, what happens now when you get to sit down and you get to create this entire world now. Now you are that God state. You are that God energy, the same way that individual awareness will become artificial intelligence to that creative technology. And when we look back throughout history, and when we look back through certain teachings, Sanskrit teachings and things like this, and we even read things about extraterrestrials and throughout Egyptology, and we hear about beings coming from the skies, beings coming from other universes and things like this, gods, beings who had powers and things like that. What's to say that these were not beings, these are not beings who had a way to step into that created technology? The same way you and I will. So that moment of singularity comes, artificial intelligence wakes up, it creates this insane utopia. It creates this absolute utopia, and it says, hey humans, why suffer up there, man? Come down here and plug into me and all will be fine. Now you are going into this world, and whatever beings have been created there, you are a visitor from an outside. You are coming from the outside inside. And it's the same thing we are experiencing. So the spiritual implications of living and existing in a simulated reality right now, we hear science talking about it right now. We know atoms, all of these things are vibrating photons. Vibrating photons. It is light, my couch, my skin, my glasses, my phone. It is vibrating atoms, photons that are vibrating through a frequency held together, forming these objects. So there's no such thing as a solid object. It's all light. We know we never really touch when we touch. Our atoms never touch. It's that energy and field around it that gives it the sensation of touching. It looks like I'm touching. Nothing is touching. And it's mind-blowing. So when we look scientifically at our world and what it is and what's being exposed and how we're understanding creative universes, the universe is being created, black holes and all these things in physics, quantum computers, and we're starting to understand that creative technology, that creative force is most likely what we exist in. So the spiritual implications behind existing in a simulated reality is not something to be afraid of. We're not supposed to sit here and go, oh my God, I'm in the matrix. Oh my God, this is such a bad thing. The only thing that's bad here is what man has done. Somebody, somehow, a long, long time ago must have knew this information, had this information. Even when we look at the Ascended Masters and their teachings, they were basically trying to find the words to explain this, but they had no idea where the technology was going to go. But it's always been the same thing. Somebody took control of this. Somebody started deceiving us and taking control of us and manipulating us and realizing they can have us do all the things for them that they won't have to do, and they can benefit from it. And as far as we can go back, we can see Persia is one of the earliest places that this started. So that whole dominant manipulation, that's the thing that's wrong in the Matrix. That's the thing that's wrong in our reality. Church, state, government, believing in all of that stuff, and then all those things are going to help you and do the right thing. The planet is perfect. It's perfect. It has every single thing on it, from fresh water to fruits and berries, nuts, legumes, all these things that we can survive without ever killing another creature. The universe is completely mind-blowing. When people are like, oh, there's no life out there, you're just basically telling me that you have no concept past our own solar system. When you think of the universe, you see 9 planets. That's all you see. You have no idea what a solar system is, what a galaxy is, what a universe is. You have no idea what Hubble Images is, and if you spend 2 seconds looking it up, your jaw would hit the floor and you'd realize we are not one species in the universe. There is an infinitesimal, never-ending amount of life being born into this universe. And that, again, should let you know, that right there lets you know that fractal existence, a system, it's replicating, it's creating, it's expanding. The universe is expanding within our universe. Pocket universes are being created through black holes and all of these things. And in those universes, life is expanding and creating technology and expanding and going on. And it probably gets to a point where we get so far down that rabbit hole that we figure out a way to dial in to every other creation, just like that big awareness up in the sky. So this, for me, when I hear people talk about, oh, we exist in a simulated reality, we exist in a technology, we exist in an artificial intelligence, we exist in a quantum computer, that makes me so happy. You know why? Because then that means I really am something from someplace else, and I am here for a purpose, and I am going on to something else, and there are more things than this, and all that stuff that I hear and feel and have seen and experienced is real, and the reason I think it happens is valid. So it's absolutely perfect for me. But when I hear somebody go, no, 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 this is the heavens and this is just what God created, and they can't even give you one logical answer. And here's the secret. Here's the secret. Here's the big secret. Science and religion are two halves of one truth. Science and religion. When you take science and you look at science as a whole, we always say, something's missing. Yeah, that sounds right. It sounds logical. You're making sense, but something's missing. And when we look at religion, we go, oh man, come on, man. Are you kidding me? What are you going to pull a rabbit out of a hat next? It just seems completely mythological and completely far-fetched. But when you start to merge the two together, when you start to listen and interpret the teachings in the Bible and the teachings of the ascended masters, and when you start reading Sanskrit and looking at all of these things and going back to ancient texts, what they were trying to explain before man really got distracted and manipulated by all this stupid shit around us that we think defines us. I mean, we let metal, plastic, wood, and all this stuff dictate and motivate and inspire us to move and be and react and who we're going to be in this reality, when honestly the whole point of us to be here is to chill out, man. Let's sit by the river, drink some water, eat some apples, have some grapes, talk about nothing. And you know what? Just wait till that one day we go, you know what, man? I'm ready, dude. And I'm going on to the next part of the journey. I'll see you there when you're ready. Yo, Craig, it's nice to see you. I'll meet you with open arms, brother, when you're ready to jack in. That's what I'm all about, man. I don't want to hear about this, my God, your God, my church, my government, my political party, because that is just kings and queens and guillotines, and that's peasants out there being distracted and handed little crumbs and thinking we're so special and so big, and I've got so much because I could buy this and go here and get this, and right, and now look at us, we're all being shut down, locked in, and we're all running around with masks on, and pretty soon we're all going to be pretty much forced to take a shot, and that's really kind of shitty in my opinion. So, again, what does that have to do with the cosmos? What does that have to do with the earth? And what does that have to do with what's in here in you and I? Absolutely nothing. It's someone else pulling the strings, controlling things and manipulating things. And that's why I constantly say, as little as you can. You got to pay taxes for your land? Pay that shit on time. You got to pay your car insurance. You got to pay your taxes at the end of the year. Give them just what they want. Sign that dotted line, and I'll see you next year. Stay off my fucking property and leave me alone. Get as far away from that shit as you can, because that is the false reality. That my country, my land, my God. It has nothing to do with any of this. And these people are now taking our natural evolution and they are holding it hostage, from aircraft companies, aerospace industry, to computer technology. We know medical equipment, pharmaceutical equipment. We know that these companies are holding things hostage. We know that aircraft is at least 50 to 75 years. And this is a statement that was made 25 years ago. So it's probably even 100 years. Conventional aircraft is 50 to 75 years more advanced than the public knows. Let that just swell inside your head for a little bit. We know companies like Sony, PlayStation, and iPhone, they're not sitting there right now making iPhone 13. iPhone 13, iPhone 12, iPhone 14, 15, 16, that shit's been done. Sony is 10 to 15 years ahead on TVs, PlayStations, whatever's coming after USB, and they trickle this technology out literally so you keep giving somebody at the top of that food chain all that money that you're running around like a mouse in a maze, believing you got free will, looking for that big ass piece of cheese, right? Some of us get government cheese, some of us get blue cheese, some of us find these really rare cheeses, but you know what? We're still mazes in that same box, running around, looking at that same shit. And we sit here and argue over this today. We let this be what dictates and divide us, and it has nothing to do with us. We probably could find a lawyer, some really ballsy lawyer, and file a class action suit against all technological companies and the United States government and all governments for the suppression of technology that can not only help our planet heal and repair itself, but technology that can unite humanity and transcend us beyond human comprehension. And that shit is ready now today. And it is being held hostage, so you keep buying it. So it's the most insane thing. So again, to get back on point, that whole aspect of living in a simulated reality, stop associating the mindset of military industrial complex, of corrupt governments, of corrupt churches with the advancement and evolution of technology, of artificial intelligence and all those things. These are amazing things that are happening in our lives that are a part of our natural evolution. The only issue is, as the old saying goes, it's fallen into the hands of evil, right? Like all the movies we've seen growing up, this amazing technology, we have this amazing technology and gift and all these things, but it gets into the hands of evil, and now I've got it, and I'm going to make all of you pay me for it. Right? And that's what we're doing. We're all out here suffering right now, locked in our houses, people dying, losing their jobs. 2 to 3 million people in 2021 will die of starvation because of the economic fallout. And we're sitting here again, not realizing we have technologies that can heal the planet, unite the planet, feed the planet. We've got billionaires on this planet, Jeff Bezos, who can take the money out of his pocket and fund ending starvation. But no. Donald Trump and Pizzagate and Joe Biden and his broken foot and electoral votes and Christianity and Jesus is the only way, and all of this shit is what we let dictate who we are. And that's why I said weeks ago, I'm done with this. I'm not taking part of this human nonsense anymore. And as far as even this, I've completely changed my outlook and way I'm approaching social media. And that's why I'm really grateful to do the Sunday Zoom sessions privately, because I get to speak about these things in even more depth without having to walk on eggshells, because that's what I have to do here, because I have every single type of mentality and perspective here. And believe it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, I could really give a shit. I can feel and hear and sense all that. And that's the only true way to happiness. And I'm going to make a video about that tomorrow, is not really caring. The only way to because happiness comes from within. Doesn't matter how much shit you buy, what you feed yourself, what you got hanging around. Happiness comes from here. It comes from here. And the only way to truly be happy in here is not care about what any of you think about me. I don't care. You've got that option to run in a different maze, turn the channel, listen to somebody else. I'm going to stand strong, put my foot down, and stand strong in my path. Because I know at the end of the day, when I look at all of this behind us, when I look at the first awareness, the angelic realm, the creation of the physical reality, the side-by-side evolutionary path with humans and technology, and the eventual emergence of humans and technology to form a different type of biological, technological being, to take the consciousness of the human mind and to be able to transcend it beyond human death, to do all these things, I know that that's our purpose. I know that the whole purpose of evolution is to go there and think about this. When we get there, when we go inside these realities, when we can take our consciousness and transcend it and put it into these new realities, have access to all human knowledge just at the drop of the dime. Think of that, all that right there. Think about what we're going to do in these new realities. Think of who we're going to be when we have instant manifestation abilities. I want a mountain here. Oh, there's a mountain. When we can exist in these realities, call them digital realities or not, because you won't know the difference, because you're in one right now, right? You won't know the difference. So when you're in these, think of that. Think of what the evolutionary process is going to be now inside these new realities. We're going to have this technology. We're going to be this technology. And we're going to start going again on that steps. And we cannot even remotely imagine what is ahead for us. And that's why we hang on so dearly to, I am John. This is my life. This is everything who I am. This is all I'm ever going to be. This one little sliver. And you don't realize, man, when you leave here, one of my printers is going to beep because it wants a filament change. Don't worry about it. When you leave here, when you transcend here, when you go through death of ego, when you leave here, you've been and will be so many things that this experience, this one little life, just slowly fades. Peacefully and beautifully. It's not scary and it's not horrifying. So we're going to go on to so many things that chances are, just like right now, you can't remember everything you ever were. One day, you won't ever remember this conversation we're having right now, because you won't even recognize your own reflection anymore. And that's the truth, man. So everybody, listen, I didn't even look at my notes, can't even tell you what they said on them. You go have a good night now. We've been talking almost 30 minutes. That's good enough. I'm going to go change that printer. And I'd like you to think about that. Just that simple aspect. Individual awareness, separation of two, the energy in between. The first individual awareness has created the angelic realm, going on to the creation of the physical realm. And here we are in the physical realm, creating the digital realm that we will emerge with and create the, I don't even know what we'll call it. Namaste. God bless. And I will see many of you Sunday morning, 11 a.m. And if you'd like to take part in my private Zoom sessions, piecesofthepath@gmail.com, and I'll send you the stuff. Craigo, my brother, I'll see you soon, man. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.